I wonder what happened on Raw tonight that we're going to be talking about. Of course, the return of Alexa Bliss. Demonic, fiendish style Alexa Bliss. And you've got no idea how happy I was to finally see her return. Not just her, the Firefly Funhouse itself is back. I'm so freaking happy about that. But before we get started, please make sure you leave a like on the video. You genuinely don't know how much that really does help. Now, Alexa Bliss was sat in the middle of the funhouse floor, in the middle of this demonic symbol, which a lot of people are calling a pentagram, but in fact, it's not. There are two symbols, you can see them on screen right now. We have a pentagram and a pentacle, and of course, this symbol is clearly a pentacle. It does have a circle surrounding a 5-pointed star. So, let's look at what a pentacle is. A pentacle is a 5-pointed star with a circle around it. Tick. A sign other witches or Wiccans recognise. A protection signal. I probably butchered that. A symbol of 5 elements. Spirit, water, fire, earth, and air. Well, Alexa Bliss definitely had the earth, as she said, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Honestly, you're starting to see where this is going now. These elements are what Alexa Bliss used. She then had a candle representing fire, and obviously talking about the Fiend being set on fire. The memory was there. So obviously these elements were in play. But interestingly, the candles seemingly blew themselves out, indicating that maybe a spirit was there as well. So that's 3 out of the 5 elements. You can say air is technically all around it anyway, so that's 4. I guess all that needs to be added now is a little bit of water. Now, a lot of people are saying Alexa Bliss is clearly looking up. Obviously she is. A lot of people are saying, is she looking up at something? Maybe she could be looking up at the spirit of the Fiend, but I just think this is more she's looking at the camera. Since the Funhouse's inception, we've seen superstars Bray Wyatt and Alexa Bliss both look directly to the camera, so I think this is nothing more than that personally. But it is now time for our Yowie Wowie moment of the week. It's a chance where we talk about something non-Funhouse from Raw, and of course it's...
Charlotte, I'm pregnant.
The OMG bombshell that Lacey Evans is pregnant. Of course, in kayfabe WWE story, Ric Flair, a 70-year-old plus man, is the father, but in fact, this is actually legitimate. Lacey Evans is legitimately pregnant. This was a reaction because apparently WWE only found out about this today, so they had to play it into the story to write Lacey Evans out of Elimination Chamber. I think everyone will join me in saying congratulations to Lacey Evans. But nonetheless, Ric Flair in WWE eyes is the father. That definitely deserves to be Yowie Wowie moment of the week. Now, everything that happened on Raw with Alexa Bliss was circled once again around that Viper, Randy Orton. He cut a backstage promo where he was talking about the Elimination Chamber and then started talking about the Fiend before Alexa turned up. But of course, there is the opportunity right now to do the return of everyone's favourite things you might have missed segment. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a possible Puppet Watch! My neighbours are going to hate me. But nonetheless, people have been sending me these images, and I went back and checked, and it's there. I don't think it is, but it does look like possibly an Abby the Witch puppet behind Randy Orton once again in his promo. We have used this before, and I'm not sold on it. It does disappear, but interestingly, the camera pans. It goes left to right, and when it goes to the right, you can see it. It's there now on your screen. I don't know if it's part of the setup backstage or if it is the puppet. There is a reason this camera's moving left and right. It is very weird because the camera could remain stationary, but it doesn't. Let me know what you think. Obviously, Fiend being set on fire is something WWE keep trying to remind us about. Of course they are. It's a huge thing to talk about. And Randy Orton making his way down to the ring for his gauntlet match tonight. Obviously, commentators pointed out that everything Randy Orton has done, look at what he did to The Fiend, this man will stop at nothing. And I really like that. The fact they're constantly trying to remind you. Talking about reminding you, WWE only a few days ago uploaded an entire 11-minute playlist video with all the history between Randy Orton and Alexa Bliss. Kind of when they do something like this, and it's usually only for Funhouse related stuff, they want you to remember things because things are going to happen very soon. Now, I wanted to give a massive shout out to Chris on this video because this dude is super talented. If you haven't seen on Twitter, he has posted these images of a Bray Wyatt head sculpt. They are genuinely fun. He has done like The Fiend before. I've spoken to him. He's done many other Bray Wyatt related figure head sculpts. They look super incredible. He did tweet out jokingly saying that he wants a job at Mattel. Hopefully the dude's successful because I buy Mattel figures. And this is something I would purchase. That looks absolutely brilliant. He's not in a position to sell them right now, but make sure you follow him on social media for updates. And while we're speaking of figures, John Cena is getting a new Ringside Collectibles exclusive of the NWO style John Cena that we saw in the Firefly Funhouse. You can now literally recreate that portion of the Firefly Funhouse match with a Mattel action figure of John Cena. How freaking cool is this? I've legit already pre-ordered it because it looks amazing, doesn't it? Let's be honest. Now, Alexa wasn't finished with Randy Orton after everything we saw in the Funhouse. Of course, she haunted him during his gauntlet match, appearing to take over the entire freaking WWE Thunderdome. And when I say the entire Thunderdome, I mean the entire WWE Thunderdome. Every screen, every light was controlled seemingly by Alexa Bliss, and Randy Orton looked freaking terrified, which is brilliant. Of course, it cost him the match, and he will not be the final entrant in the men's Elimination Chamber WWE Championship match. That will indeed be Sheamus, for those that want that information. Of course, Randy Orton, seemingly after being cussed the gauntlet, could potentially be cussed the Elimination Chamber match. That could be the way WWE go. I still want them to do the Life is a Circle thing and have Randy Orton win this match, become the WWE Champion, and lose it to The Fiend at WrestleMania. At Elimination Chamber 2017, when Bray Wyatt held up the WWE Championship, all the Fireflies were cheering, and in the very final moment, Randy Orton appeared on stage with the commentary team saying, "Are we going to get Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton at WrestleMania?" You could role reverse that at this Elimination Chamber. Life is a Circle. It could be the first glimpse of The Fiend. Now that is actually the advert on WWE Network for this Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. Pop goes the weasel. What? That's very weird. But of course, it does add into that childlike games that we know that the Firefly Funhouse loves to play. And maybe, just maybe, Randy Orton's the weasel that's about to get popped. Now, the return of the Firefly Funhouse is such a crucial part of this story. So many YouTubers and critics that seemingly just do nothing but hate on The Fiend have been saying for weeks that the Firefly Funhouse is done. It's no more. It's never coming back. Well, guess what, people? Here it is. A very dark, a very eerie Firefly Funhouse, but nonetheless, it's back. And it's interesting that this is the location that this ritual took place. A lot of people are likening this ritual to witchcraft. Of course, we saw that a pentacle does represent witchcraft. There is no doubt about that, and the comparison has to be made to the Abby the Witch puppet, which could make sense if indeed that is the Abby the Witch puppet that we spoke about during Puppet Watch. That would be kind of a cool segue to kind of maybe say that they're in it together, the witches are uniting. Again, the contacts were back on Alexa Bliss's eyes this week on Raw. They have been missing when she's in the ring. I do wonder if there's an element that she just cannot wrestle in them. Maybe it's uncomfortable. She had flashbacks that we saw on screen of Randy Orton setting the Fiend on fire. So we know what her motivation is. The motivation is very, very clear. It's bringing back the Fiend. And she determined that and confirmed that. And is actually going to happen when she said, crucially, in the future, he will return. That's the interesting line. In the future. Now, necessarily, that doesn't have to be at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. Instead, it could be WrestleMania. We don't know. The future is inevitable, and it's literally infinite. Obviously, it was great to see Alexa Bliss back in WWE, back on Raw, and obviously to get that confirmation that the Fiend is coming back. All those stupid critics and stupid people who keep saying that the Fiend's gone forever, can now finally shut their mouths, because they've been saying it for weeks and people believe stuff and it's so ridiculous. Guys, long-term storytelling, the build-up is everything, and that's what WWE gave us this week. An OMG build-up to the return of the Fiend, and I can't wait. Elimination Chamber this Sunday is unmissable. Let me know your thoughts and anything I might have missed in the comments section down below. If you are new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, like the video, share the video, and I'll see you as always next time.